Howdy ho all, Bill Greenberg with PhoneScholar.com. Today is Wednesday, June 10th, and here's a summary of what's on the website today. Brute force scripts snatched iPad email addresses. And basically AT&T has admitted that there was a breach or a problem with their software to where a company called Goatsy, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, basically sent out, I'm not quite sure how the technology is because they said they didn't hack, they didn't infiltrate, they didn't breach, so I'm not quite, it didn't explain exactly the technology to do it, but basically they were able to send out something and able to extract 114,000 email addresses from iPad users through the AT&T network. Now what happens is when iPad owners set up for service, the iPad device, there's what's called a SIM chip, which most of you know what a SIM chip is, and it's been in cell phones, GSM cell phones for years, and it's the device, it acts as kind of like, there's an electronic ES and a SIM card. That SIM card has to be activated so that the system, the device, either the phone or the iPad, can find the system and connect with the system. And they activate the SIM card, and when they do, the AT&T asks for an email contact address. And what that does with the iPad in particular is they set once they set up the SIM, they set up the email address in there, so when iPad users log on, they don't have to always put in their email address, they just put in a password to access their account. So they were really trying to just make it more accessible, but this glitch was left open, which they have since closed. It was found out on Monday. On Tuesday, said they automatically shut down the system to be able to do that. So I'm not sure if they're creating a new system or how they're going to do that. Again, that's not been said. But here's some of the people whose email addresses were basically harvested from the AT&T servers. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel, ABC News anchor Diane Sawyer, you're going to love this, U.S. Air Force Colonel William Eldridge, and if you look on the video that I have on there and some of the articles, there's a whole bunch of military addresses on there, which is a little bit scary if New York Times CEO Janet Robinson, Time Incorporated CEO Ann Moore, President and COO of News Corp Chase Carey, and the Dow Jones CEO Les Hinton, just to name a few. There was a whole bunch more, like I said, 114,000. AT&T said they already sent notices out to those people who this happened with. They said most of these people were the people who got them right away when they the first time buyers who got this. Again, they're not sure why this all happened. They're investigating it, checking it right now, and it shouldn't be an issue going forward. But if you got that email, and they also said that just getting email addresses is not a huge security breach. There's not a lot of information, and they assured everybody that there's no other information that went out there. But again, if somebody can easily do this without really trying to do this, imagine what can happen. So be prepared. The next video is an iPad magician. It's a guy from Japan who does some really amazing things with his iPad. Take a look at the video. I can't even explain it. You have to take a look at the video, check it out. And then lastly, I did an article. I had a reader of the or a viewer of the YouTube logs sent me an email through blog questions at PhoneScholar.com about the new BlackBerry Bold 9650, which is available today in the Verizon stores. It's been available since last Wednesday online, and it's a global phone, meaning it has a GSM SIM card built into it that you can use overseas. And he had some questions about how exactly that works. And just real simple, I'll go into it, but I put his request and then my response to that, so take a look at that if you're interested in possibly getting a BlackBerry or any phone for overseas through Verizon. And basically you contact Verizon through the phone number that's on the email that I put on there, on the email that I sent back out to him, and what they will do is they will set up the SIM card, as I just mentioned, the SIM card. They'll activate the SIM card, they'll get your information, and they'll make sure that you're all set up to use it globally. And then basically you have to make sure I would go onto the website and I put a link to the countries that are available, because Verizon Wireless has to be contracted to use the GSM network in the country that you're at. If it's a CDMA network overseas, which there are many CDMA networks, more than you'd think, it can automatically be used, but for the GSM it has to be contracted, because the CDMA is normally the Vodafone, which is a 45% owner of Verizon Wireless anyway, so they're already contracted with them. And you check that out, see what it is. Now please remember, using your phone overseas can get very, very expensive, so you want to make sure that it's worth the money to bring it over there. If not, the other alternative is most countries have the ability, and most of them are in the airports, where you can just go into a shop and get a prepaid phone, which is very inexpensive. It's so inexpensive they just literally most of the time give you the phone, you don't even return it. And you can use that while you're on your trip. If it's something you're going to go back and forth a lot of times, then it's probably worth doing. So check it out. The article's on there and all the attachments are on there. Under categories, under Android and T-Mobile, they announced that the MyTouch 3G is going to get the Android Oreo 2.2 update, software update. Now they have not announced a timeline or when this is happening. It's going to be, again, this is for the MyTouch 3G. They didn't say anything about the 3G slide, which should also, I don't know why, but that should also. Part of the update is also going to have a modified version of the Faves Gallery and an update to the Genius button that the slide already has now, and things like you can get directions and map directions and stuff like that. Then under iPhone and T-Mobile, here we go, and we knew this was going to be coming too, report Apple's iPhone on T-Mobile. And they're saying by this fall, Apple has said that the exclusivity with AT&T is going to be over. They want to get it into other carriers. Now T-Mobile is the most likely place to go next, because they run basically the same network as AT&T. They're on the GSM network, and it's already set up for that. To go over to Sprint or Verizon, we've already talked this in numerous times, changing the entire system is very difficult, and T-Mobile is in desperate need of an influx of customers. So they're probably much, much more willing to do what Apple requires in regards to software needs, things like that, as opposed to a Verizon that they still kind of clash and things have to be done. So watch for it. I would say this is probably much, much more definite and will happen much quicker than any Verizon phone would happen. Again, any questions, any comments, anything that you want to tell me, send me an email at blog questions at phonescholar.com. And for everything else, go to www.phonescholar.com. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow.